Now, then if we want to analyze the model performance in production, we first need to do some quick formatting because there has to be a reference and an analysis data set to be created in order for NannyML to properly assess and see what's up with your performance. I went quite elaborate about it, but that's just to drive a point home of which parts have to be present to do proper monitoring. So first of all, we're going to take the test set as a reference. What does that mean? That the test set is created in such a way that it should represent how the production data will look. That is, it should mimic it. So, and then on the test set, because that is truly historical, we know the performance, and this can resemble the expected performance. And that's why we're going to use that as a reference to compare our production data towards. So for that, we need, of course, the test set features. We also need the predictions. And since it's historical data, we also have the ground truth. And I'm going to go back to the initial data set and also fetch the time, because this is an important component. When we move to production, we want to see how things change over time. Then we are going to set up the analysis data, which is just the production data. So all of the data that goes into the machine learning model after it has been deployed. And we're going to collect the same thing, which are the features, the predictions. So what goes into the model, what comes out. And then usually you don't really have access to the ground truth in production. That's just the reality. Most use cases, when they predict, it takes a long time for you to gather the ground truth or to gather the actual resolution. Here in terms of tipping, it might be that if we're, for instance, for Green Taxi, how their payment systems are set up, that they instantly know how much was being tipped. But I can totally imagine that that is in some way regulated, that the tip has to go directly to the driver itself, and that it might take a while before that information can actually be gathered, and that it may be even something that the driver has to report later. And then we don't really know at the time of making the predictions what the ground truth is. And this is a typical use case where the ground truth is delayed or absent. So we're going to assume that that is the case, because that is most often the case with machine learning models in production. And then that kind of is a good way of mimicking how it would look like. And then we do the same thing for getting the data in the analysis.